Wonderful. Welcome back to another fabulous Friday night art class where we're here painting this beautiful hibiscus flower scene. And we will be painting in light blue, white, orange, yellow, and pink. And then we're using our three favorite brushes, our wide flat brush for the background, the medium round brush for blending, and the small detail brush. So if you're ready, we can get started with the wide flat brush. And we're going to give ourselves a nice light watery layer across the entire canvas of just the blue. But again, we're going to keep it light, this first layer, and keep it kind of watery, just so we can get a little foundation down first. So just as long as we get good coverage, it does not have to be super saturated. Using mostly water here. We're getting a nice blend here. Shouldn't take too much paint at all for that. So if you have the art kit, if you purchased my art kit, and you'll see that the paint is in kind of small paint pots, if you will, you still should have enough paint to get through your 8 by 10 canvas with those. So shouldn't take too much. Wonderful. So that's my light water layer of blue. Very light. And once you have that light layer, we're going to just let it rest for a second. Let some of that water kind of dry for a moment. So it's a good time to take a sip of your water or your wine or your tea or whatever beverage you're enjoying. And we will move on to the medium round brush for the next step. So you can prepare for that. All right. My canvas is still a little cold to the touch, but it's definitely dry. I don't have any moisture. Eh, for the most part. This is a good enough place to start. Still a little cold from the water, but not visibly wet. So we're going to go ahead and start with our medium round brush now. So you can whip this one out. And so for the next step, we're going to go ahead and map out our petals of our hibiscus flower with orange. So when I do that, I'm going to start with an infinity or figure eight symbol that's going to go right down the center of the canvas. And I'm going to do my best to make the center of the infinity the center of the canvas. I suppose I could start in the center, but I like to start at the bottom. So we're going to do it this way. And we snake this around and we make our figure eight. And we just kind of keep going around until that X in the middle is right where we like it, which I think this is about as central as that's gonna get. Right there. So that's with the orange paint. And so now we have this really nice figure eight. We're going to start to formulate this top and bottom leaf. So when we make our leaf petals, there's 5 of them, it's going to end up having the illusion that these 2 are sitting behind the other 3. So we're going to go ahead and map them out, fill them in with orange. But the goal is to get them rounder, okay? So we're gonna just bring our orange around a little bit wider, little by little, on the edges, till it gets more round in shape. Also, we need it large enough for it to have the illusion that the flower is so close up that the petals coming off the screen.
Ashley, did you just use yellow or did you mix yellow with something?
Nope, this is just orange, actually.
Oh, orange. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're
What's
just
yellow?
using orange first. It's
Okay.
gonna look a little different because of the blue background. Yeah, the blue background gives the illusion of kind of a different color, but that's why we're gonna do a couple layers of all this. So you can see I'm just gently filling this in while also extending it out little by little. So this is a good size. So you can see that the petal is coming off of the frame down here. That's what you want. So I'm going to repeat that same process up here, just adding my orange little by little, getting wider. And you will see how lovely it's going to be. So you can still see my individual strokes as well. That's also okay. It's kind of what you want. Isn't this nice? So you can see both petals visibly going off frame here. That's how you want it. Looks like an hourglass. So, and again, this is going to be in layers. So if you don't 100% love it so far, it's going to be okay. We'll have a chance to redeem ourselves later. So let's go ahead and put these other petals here. We're still using our medium round brush, and we're still just using the orange color. And so now that I have some more fresh orange on my brush, we're gonna go ahead and work on these two petals over here. And so the way we're gonna do that, because remember, these two petals are gonna have the illusion of being on top of the ones we just did. So we're gonna go ahead and start by making a nice arced shape. It's gonna start at the bottom of the canvas, cross over one of our, or cross over both of our petals, but it's gonna cross over the bottom petal just a little bit, meet in the center, and then finish crossing over to this top corner here. So it's gonna be one fluid stroke. You're gonna have to just kind of go for it. So we'll start here. And it's okay to dash it along, but you really want to make sure that you aim for that center piece. So you could see mine could be more arched. Here, like so. And then we can go ahead and finish it off here. Bring that around to the edge there. Like so. So that's our arc coming around. That's the beginning. Half circle, arc, half circle, same thing. So this is a good curve. Let's go ahead and finish these two off, and we'll go ahead and fill them in with orange. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start again from this center point, and we're just going to give them two curves, one coming down and one curving up, okay? But you can see they're kind of far apart still, but we're going to fill it in. We're going to fill it in so much that this little blue section is going to be maybe a half an inch wide by the time we're done filling everything in. So I'm just going to take my time using the orange, and we just slowly close it in. Like that's probably nice, and I can fill in the rest here like so. Same thing here. I'm just going to arc it on over. Like that's good. And then I can fill in the rest. like so. So that's the second two petals. It's looking really nice so far, I think. All right, let's finish the final petal. Um, and then I'll show you how we finalize the blue section. So I still have my orange. We're still with the medium round brush, and I'm just gonna go ahead. We're gonna have to kind of freestyle this last one, but luckily we've had the practice of the others to kind of help us get the idea of the shape. So we're gonna start here in the center, and I'm just gonna arc a nice line underneath and around here, like so. And we'll do another one above that here, like so. And of course, I can make that bigger here if I like. And we're going to fill that in as well with our orange. And you can still see kind of the blue between a little bit in some places. You can see my brush strokes. All of that is fine. A lot of orange. All right. Wonderful. So that's how it should look. It's really pretty so far. So we're going to go ahead and clean our medium round brush thoroughly after this step and make sure we get all the water out. So the last part of the background, now that we have this perfect foundation, we're going to go ahead and take our blue. And I went ahead and cleaned the medium round brush. We got all of the water out. And we're going to take our blue now. Well, two things are going to happen. We're going to allow this first layer of orange to kind of dry a bit so that we can lay down a secondary, more vibrant layer of color on top. So that's part of what's happening here. But while that's going on, we're going to take our blue and we're going to very lightly, very gently just kind of give ourselves a nice secondary layer here in all of our background areas, just being sure to be gentle and light pressure going around these organic curves of our petals. But you can see it shouldn't be super difficult to get in there since we have that under layer. This one should go on pretty smoothly without you having to be over the top accurate. Apparently, I can't paint and talk at the same time. But you can see how you can fit in between those curves, even though it's the medium round brush and not the detail brush. So we just meet our petals here. Wonderful. Let's continue. So I still have my two other sections here. All right. Very nice. I'm liking it. It's coming to life. So once you have your blue filled in, you can go ahead and clean your brush and make sure you get all of the water out. Also, really important because it's blue to get all of it out too, because we're going to work with yellow and orange next. So we really want to make sure there's no blue left over. Make sure our colors are as vibrant as they can get. Oh, that's very exciting. That basically does it for our background layer. We're gonna now add some more pigment on top of our flower petals just to make the orange pop. And we're gonna incorporate a little more yellow at this time so we can start to get the variation of color that we're looking for. Just a little bit. Um, yeah, so we're still with the medium round brush. And we're gonna go ahead. Let's see, what should we start? Let's start with the yellow and then we can work our way to the orange after. So our yellow, we're just gonna gently work in around the centers and outer, like towards the edge of our petals, kind of leaving these center areas alone. So I'm just gonna work my yellow in this area here. I mean, if it goes up to the front a little bit or to the inner part of the flower a little bit, it's okay, but that part's gonna be pink. So try not to overdo it with the yellow there. But you can see how I'm just highlighting the center here, giving it a little more brightness, especially towards the edges where it's a little more blue. And I mean edges of the painting, not edges of the whole petal. It's looking really, really nice. Would have been better if I did the infinity ones first, but this is fine for the yellow. We will do it that way for the orange. So you can see how my petals are already looking more vibrant against the blue. That's what you want. Very nice. So let's not get this yellow too dry. Let's incorporate a little more orange on top of our background layer, just really more around the outer edges of each petal. And again, we're gonna start on these first two top and bottom petals first, and then work our way to the outer ones. So I'm just gonna get my orange and I'm gonna start kind of towards the edge. I still have a little yellow on my brush too, so that's fine. I'm just gonna work that orange around from the outside into the yellow a little bit more, just so we have a little more vibrancy. With that orange, very nice. Really just kind of keeping it towards the edges. And that's what we want. Really meeting that blue as well. All right. I love it. So this is already looking way more vibrant, making a lot more sense. Popping against the blue background. And now we can kind of see where we want to go with the white and the pink. So that's what we'll be doing next. So this is a really great place to be. We've already got our foundation, and now we're starting to really see the colors come to form. The blending of the orange and the yellow is almost getting us there. So next, we're going to take our small detail brush, and we're going to kind of blast this out from the center outward with white. Now, when we do this, we don't want a totally drenched paintbrush, but we do want a little moisture to it because we want that white to kind of move against these other layers that are underneath. We want fluidity. So we're going to start in the center of, again, we're going to start with our original two, the top and bottom petals. And I'm just going to start from the center and slowly start working the white from the inside out. And again, we're going to have to dip back and forth between the water and the white, really making sure that we don't get any drips, but that we also still have some nice fluid movement of the paint. So I can even bring this white, I can play with it. I can spot it a little bit up here. You know how these flowers kind of have those divots or ridges in them. So you can bring those a little higher. The point is, we want to make sure we have a good amount towards the center, like so. So we're really preparing the stage for that pink when we bring that in. So that's my first. So you can see how dramatic the white is in comparison. So a slightly moist brush will get you there. Try not to use too much water. It's a dance. I like it. Really bringing this out kind of like eyelashes. And we can incorporate little bits of it up into other parts of the petal, like so. This is really nice. Love it. Let's finish these last three. I'm loving it. Very nice. I love it. Let's go ahead and do this last one. Now you really can see, hopefully a little bit more anyway, how the petals are layered on top of one another. It really has a nice illusion. It's a little trick, just a few steps, and it looks real. Wonderful. I'm loving it. It's looking really good so far. And it's ready for our pink. It's coming alive. So let's not let this white sit for too long. What we're gonna do now, that we have these all finalized, we're ready to come in with our pink. So we're gonna go ahead and thoroughly clean off our detail brush, and we're gonna get most of the water out. It's perfect. Because what we'll do with the pink, and by the way, the pink I'm using is really more of like a magenta pink color, but you can use any shade of pink and it's going to look really nice, especially since we laid out the foundation first with white. That's the trick. So I'm going to take my pink, and what we'll do here is we're going to slowly kind of outline our petals. And then once I have them outlined, I'm just going to work the pigment slowly inward to these center areas of white, making the pink a little bit lighter. Allow me to demonstrate. Let's see. For this, let's start again on the bottom here. So let's say I start on the outside here. And we put some pink there. So I'm going to slowly blend that pink inward towards the center. And you see how it's turning lighter pink as I go. That's what you want. So we want to make sure we do it while the white is still fresh. If it doesn't end up blending and turning lighter pink, don't fret. We can always add white to it after. But this is the effect that we're getting. So you can kind of go wild and you can mix a little more pink, you can splotch it around different areas around the edges. I mean, we've all seen how beautiful the hibiscuses are, and they kind of have a nice shading or progression of color from the inside of the petal to the edge of the petal being usually a little bit darker, I think. Let's see how we can do here. And we will need a little bit of water throughout the process, but not a lot. No drips at this stage. It's not going to be good. So I'm going to kind of start in gently with the pink. figure out the lay of the land, how it's looking. Do I still see the layers of the petals? And then assess from there, because if I feel like they look a little bit flat, I can always add a little bit more pink, darker to these underneath petals just to really accentuate the depth. I hope that makes sense. So, like, that's looking really nice. Very nice. Also, this is your chance if you feel like you want to spot in a little bit more yellow or orange in some places as you see fit. This is really your chance to kind of finalize all of your colors. So take full advantage. Okay, so I'm liking this. I'm going to see if I want to add maybe a little more white with my pink, and I'm going to see how that looks. Just really give it more brightness all around, I think. I don't know. Or I could mess it up. I'm not sure. But we're going to just take a chance. All ideas deserve to be explored. They ended up in your mind for a reason, I guess. I love it. So once you have your pink and all your colors blended how you like, you can go ahead and clean your detail brush one last time. We're gonna just do now we went over this before. It's not the sternum, it's not the stellium, the pestle, the stamen. Whatever the center part of the hibiscus is called, that's going to be our final thing. So make sure that you clean off your detail brush and you have it ready to go with no water. Because any drips now would truly be a tragedy. So now this is looking amazing. Let's go ahead and finish this thing. And so when we do this center part of the flower, we're going to first lay down, there's three parts. We're going to first lay down our first layer in just white by itself. And then we're going to blend in just a little bit of orange into it in just a couple places, not the whole thing. Just slowly kind of blend the orange in. Then we're going to take the back of the brush and make little yellow dots of our pollen, okay, on either side, and just accentuate those dots with a little orange, and it's gonna be complete. So it's not a super, you know, complicated one, but it looks nice. So let's see. We have our detail brush and we're ready to go. So let's just go, we're gonna have to just go for it. And we're gonna start here in the center of our flower and we're just gonna make a nice curved line coming up and out to the side where our blue is. Oop. And hopefully you have more paint on your brush than I did when you do it. There we go. Much better. There, so you guys can see it a little better. Like so. So that's my white. Keeping it simple. I could even make it a little bit thicker if I want, especially towards the center. But we're not going to get crazy. So that's that. And like I said, I'm just going to get a little bit of orange and we can kind of scribble it in on the bottom here of this thing and scribble some in along the center. That's it. Nothing crazy. Keeping it light. It's really nice. And so now that I have this nice light line up into my blue, I'm going to take advantage, use the back of my brush, and we're just going to start layering our little pollen dots up towards the edge of this little line, like so. And it can kind of go up in like a triangular formation or come up to a point if possible. I love it. So that's my yellow, very faint, but that's okay. I'm just gonna go over those little dots just with a tad bit of orange so that they're not so light. They can give them a little more pop when you're looking at them. So we'll just kind of go over with a little bit of orange here and just kind of add. Doesn't have to be everywhere, but just a few dots of orange. And I think we made that work, you guys. Look at that. That's so beautiful and simple. Really easy to make it look good. So I thank you so much for joining me this Friday. And if you're joining us from YouTube, thank you so much. And don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and share with a friend. I will see you guys next time. Bye.